Well, hello, and here we are. We're back, all of you light suckers. Like, please let all the light suckers off, or from the front door. Just simply shut them out and welcome the followers of darkness. Yes, yes, all of you guys, just come here and see us. Yeah, come here and join us to vote to this amazing new discussion of the Shadow Council. Because today we have a really interesting, but also at the same time proper treat for all of you. But before we do that, let me introduce myself, Lord of Shadows. As always, your host with my fellow member of the council.
I, Peyton, Pop Perch Network, freaking collaborator of Lord of Shadows, happy to be here.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Anyway, so here we are to discuss something that we all did wanted to do ever since the revelation, and here we are finally getting the chance to see it. We're gonna talk about the big one, James Gunn revelation about the upcoming DC universe. More precisely, as what he called it, Chapter One: Gods and Monsters. Gods
Not to
and
be
Monsters.
confused. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say not to be confused with the animated movie.
Exactly. Not to be confused by that. Gods and Monsters, more precisely, Gods and Monsters Part 1. Because what he revealed, it's only basically one part of it, which I basically believe, the rest of it, I think, will be revealed at Comic Con, you know, because we
Or
all
pretty soon.
know, exactly, we all know, James Gunn is a Comic Con veteran. So we'll see the entire chapter, I think, when that time comes. I mean, also before we start, when actually this year's Comic Con, when it's actually happening?
It usually happens like towards the end of July. I'm not sure about a specific date, but I think it happens maybe the third weekend of July. I'm not sure. Let me look it up real quick.
Hey, go ahead, because we have a lot to talk about,
Yes,
mes amis, a lot.
tons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Wednesday, July 19th to Sunday, July 23rd.
Okay. Okay. It's gonna be a long wait, but let's hope that the time will come very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Or more precisely, that the time will fly faster. Please, the Flash, help us.
Run, Barry, run!
Run. Anyway, so basically, I want to ask you before, like, let me ask you this before we actually go to the topic. Before the revelation, what were you expecting to see or hear?
Honestly, I was so excited to hear pretty much anything really that I mean, obviously I had tons of expectations, but like I was just happy to hear something, and I was kind of expecting very little, and the fact that we had like 10 projects announced was like amazing, and just like kind of a unique type of slate and like unique type of projects from what we've seen before, and this with this vision of James Gunn behind it. Like I was stoked.
I mean, I honestly, I'm on board with you, man, because I was really thinking that we're gonna just simply have like a small appetizer or something, like like basically some characters, well, not exactly casting, but like how the DC universe is basically going, like how it's gonna start, and like so that's basically what I was expecting. Even though I had big expectations, like almost every single one of or every single like DC fan all over the world, but I was like trying to lower my expectations. I didn't want to go like too far, like almost everyone. And for what we got, and especially James Gunn introducing these projects through a video,
Hmm.
I was like, I was not expecting that at
Nope.
all. And everything he showed, like there were some things I was like, okay, I saw it coming, but there was a lot of things I was like, wait, what? Like, I mean, uh, my mind was blown. Okay, with everything he showed, my mind was blown because there's a lot in it that I'm really excited about. So, as we start this topic, I want to ask you, where do you wish to go first? movies or TV shows?
Let's go with movies because that's where they started.
Okay. So, of course, if we're going to start with the movies, we're going to start with the right beginning of the DC universe, which is Superman
Superman.
Legacy. By the way, I just want to say I love the title.
Same. It's
Yeah, and
perfect.
also I love how James Gunn have shown the all-star Superman. I love that.
It's the
Even though
definitive run.
yeah, yeah, I know. And I would say, even though James Gunn did say, like, no, it's gonna be a total like all-star Superman thing, but like he will still use some elements like an inspiration when he's doing Superman and all that. Now, so far we know James Gunn is gonna write the movie, but can you guess as well as I do that he's gonna also direct it?
I mean, Peter Safran was literally saying, "Look, I think James would be perfect for this," and I think James is kind of on the fence of it. From what I see, is like if they don't find the right like director, he might as well be like, "All right, I'll direct this." Which honestly, I'd be pretty excited for it. It'd definitely be kind of out of his realm, as you see, because he's more of like he has a very specific style. But I guarantee, like he said it himself that he loves this character. This character has been with him since day one, since he was a kid. He had a story with him and his dad about Superman comics and stuff, and
Which
like
is
he was
heartwarming.
oh, it was very heartwarming, and it was definitely just like and like if there's one person who's meant to be behind this one way or another, it is James Gunn.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And he also even revealed the release date, which is in 2025, which is somewhere during the summer, right?
Yes, yeah, it's literally 2 years and 5 months away, roughly.
Yeah, I think he said it's gonna be like July. I think
Yes, July 15th.
exactly July 15th, 2025. And I mean, I was even surprised that we're gonna have a release date.
Mhm.
Honestly, I was really surprised. And also, we did have in since like the revelation of Superman Legacy, like there was so many informations that we got, and most of them were from James Gunn himself. Just saying, okay. Like first and foremost, he debunked the rumor that the Superman is gonna be 25 years old, like which also even like could see that he could even cast like someone in his like late 20s
Yeah,
as Superman. Which for me personally, let's just simply talk about what he said. Like the story will be. He basically said that the story will be like the Superman's first years, basically.
yeah,
Like, no, and he did say no. It's not gonna be an origin story. Like we all see that like already countless times, just like we saw Batman's origin story as well. Like we saw it hundreds of times. We know how it begins. He basically said, he's already in Metropolis. He's already working at Daily Planet, and he's already a reporter and everything, and he already started as Superman, which basically what he meant by it's gonna be basically like just like Batman Year One.
yeah,
It's gonna be like Superman at the beginning of his career as a superhero, like still like discovering new things, and I love the idea of like how he described him, Superman, like the true symbol of humanity, of hope, of goodness, like, living by the rule, like he doesn't want to kill anybody, you know, like he tries to reason with everybody, which is also, again, there are things that Superman does, you know, he will rather try to reason with the villains than actually kill them,
yeah,
you know, you know, and everything what he commented was magnificent. It was magnificent, and like all the details that he gave us and everything, I mean, of course there are small details, but everything that he described like was just simply phenomenal. And I don't know, I just simply cannot wait for Superman Legacy. And even though, like I said, for now we only know that James Gunn is writing it. We don't know if he's going to direct it, even though some people are saying that it's obvious he's going to direct it. But we'll see. If
yeah.
he's not directing it, I just hope that he will find a great director for it. But overall, what are your thoughts about Superman Legacy and everything that you find out about the informations about the movie?
Well, as I'm getting like more and more into DC, I've always been a comic book fan, and like I've said before, I'm starting to become more of a DC fan, and I'm starting to have a greater appreciation for the Man of Steel. And honestly, I this is probably my most anticipated project because this is what we need with Superman. I mean, I I appreciated Henry Cavill for what he was. I wasn't a big fan of Man of Steel nor like Batman v Superman or anything like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't the biggest fan of the DCU, so I'm glad they're trying to start fresh and start from like what makes Superman special.
I wouldn't go as far as say, because James Gunn, he also mentioned, speaking of Henry Cavill, I just want to say this, that first and foremost, the guy, including Peter Safran, like both of them are like a duo of great gentlemen because they didn't send an agent or like a secretary, whatever, like basically with a note saying, oh, Henry Cavill, you're fired. We no longer need you as Superman, all that. No, they went, they visited Henry Cavill, they sit down and discussed it and
Hmm.
saying, like we tried to do a different approach, we don't need you anymore as Superman. Like they meet him face to face for it. And I respect them
Yeah,
for that. Like they didn't just simply not like send a note or a message or anything. Like, no, they said with a guy. Also, they did mention they want to use him still in their DC universe if he's interested. And I'm just saying, Jarrell, perhaps?
yeah,
Just saying, Jarrell. Or even, I mean, it could be repetitive, but I even thought like there are two roles I could even see him like. One of them is like way too far, which is the multiverse thing, which is basically him being Ultraman, the crime syndicate.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna give like the main trio one final blow, like cast Ben Affleck as Owlman, Gal Gadot as Superwoman, and Ultraman Henry Cavill. Just saying. But
yeah,
if you're gonna keep him, I mean, he could also be a good General Zod. I'm just saying, you know,
yeah.
and General Zod was always supposed to be older than Superman again. And second, I think like if you're gonna keep him, also like I said before, Jor-El, you could be a great Jor-El as well. Just saying. But overall, I everything you said about Henry Cavill and his portrayal of Superman, like Zack Snyder, you can definitely see he went a different direction. Like he wanted to go like more. How can I put this? Dramatic approach to
Yeah,
Superman, basically, to a more adult-like, darker, grittier, dramatic Superman. Which for his world it worked, and for what Henry Cavill did was great. You
it
know,
just didn't work for me personally.
no, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Everyone has their own personal taste. I get that. Don't worry about it.
no,
I mean, I love Michael Shannon as General Zod. Like, he was great. He was perfectly cast as well. Like everything about that movie, like the battles, the story, the Kents, like everything for me, like for me, it was very creative. If I have to put it that way, it was very creative, and I actually was really like intrigued what Zack Snyder did, and I would respect him for what he did, in the Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, you know, like what like his view on the DC universe, you know, was very very creative and also very interesting, And now I'm not saying those movies are perfect; they did have flaws, but overall, as when it comes to an artist approach, I respect them. I respect Zack Snyder for what he did, and besides the Snyder fan,
the Snyder
charade,
cultists.
yes, the Snyder cultist charade, which I can already see in the comments, like people bashing us for it. But like as I always say, oh dear, how sad. Never mind.
Haters
And
gonna hate.
lovers gonna love. Just saying. Or more precisely, lovers not giving a shit. Uh,
Yeah,
anyway, like I just like you, I cannot wait to see what James Gunn is gonna do with Superman, and I really cannot wait to see the casting.
Yeah,
I'm really, really interested to see like the actor. Like I mean, knowing James Gunn is definitely going to be someone that we hardly knew, like someone who is at the beginning of his career.
yeah. I hope it's a complete unknown, someone with a very fresh face that doesn't look like straight out of an Abercrombie and Finch catalog.
That's very deep, but okay, fair enough.
No, I hope you get what I'm saying. Just like someone who just looks like just average, like the average Joe.
I get you. I get you. I get you. But the one thing is, I want the S on the cape. I want it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want the cape, and I want the tights.
Oh yes, we need those trunks. Like I don't care if people think it's
Remember, remember what James Gunn said. What do you
yeah
want,
the Twitter
Superman?
poll,
Exactly. Do you want Superman with trunks or without the trunks?
and
And
then he's like, "Oh yeah, this is like not like scientifically proven. Like we're not gonna make this like." And I'm like, "You should do that."
exactly. And also, I want the haircut.
Yes, the whole swoop.
Exactly. Like, I mean, come on, it's Superman. It's
Mhm.
iconic.
Yes.
Okay, you know. Now, also, just let's not forget. There's one information I find out recently. Michael Giacchino, he composed something for Warner Bros. It's a secret. It's not revealed yet. What? But who knows? Just saying.
He should also come on and do uh a project with James Gunn. Like he's a director now. He's working on a project for Universal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, look, the thing is that now that James Gunn, Peter Safran are in charge, like I'm telling you, I think like this brand new dawn of DC will basically open a door to a lot of actors and directors.
Yeah.
Just
The
saying.
the thing is too is that this is like probably like some of the most like kind of creatively driven like kind of storytelling I've seen in like big like budget like obviously in the early days of the MCU they had that, but this is like considering like the cinematic universe is like at its all-time peak, like there's like they're trying it in a completely different manner, and honestly I'm pretty excited to see where they go and who they work with.
Hey, I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. And again, like I just simply cannot wait like more and more informations about like this new DC universe. And also, we forgot to mention like I just love the title Gods and Monsters, like
Yeah,
chapter 1. I love this title. I really, really do. And all the projects we're gonna talk about, like it actually kind of makes sense why he called it Gods and Monsters. It
it's
kind of makes
perfect.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But before we actually go to another project, like there's one thing I want to mention, like like right away. Then we can continue. James Gunn also, but let's not forget, he mentioned that this cinematic universe, this new DC universe, will not only be connected through movies and TV shows, but through animation and video games. We mentioned that
Mhm.
before already,
Yes.
and we already have some proof about like the connectivity in animation. I just simply cannot wait to see what the video game is going to be all about. But the one thing is that he did say the actors who are going to voice the characters in video games or animation will be the same ones going to play them in the movies, and it'll basically live action. And for me, that's a really great idea.
We already have a casting too, but we'll definitely have to save that for when we talk about this project.
Exactly, exactly. But before we go to the next project, uh I just want to say like there's been some candidates of like the main villain role for Superman Legacy, but I want to ask you because it's again repetitive, but do you think like do like okay, one way or another, maybe not the first movie, but like do you think we could see Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy.
I'd love to see Lex Luthor, but we kind of talked about this before, and I agree with you there. Seeing Lex Luthor kind of as like kind of a background, well, not a background character, but like a supporting character, kind of like plotting maniacally in the background, and we can see him like later on.
If you want a bigger, actually, if you want a bigger proof, why I'm saying, that Lex Luthor could actually work way better, like from working from the shadows, basically. Like you said, plotting, manipulating, creating. Like, take for example, Superman the animated series. Lex Luthor was basically almost always in the background.
Hmm.
Like he didn't go toe to toe with Superman fighting. Well, not until Justice League, but he was always plotting, he was always creating, and most of the time he was behind the real things going on. So Lex Luthor, I think, and also before the suit, he was like that in the comics as well. So I think, in the background, for now it works better for Lex Luthor. Now, I did had some candidates, and I'm not gonna I don't think James Gunn will gonna do the same thing. I don't think he's gonna do General Zod again. I don't think he's gonna do that thing again. But there were some candidates, and like there were talks about villains like Metallo, Brainiac, Livewire, Mongol, you know. And I'll be honest, all four of them are great candidates. You know, and honestly, if we're gonna talk about like the beginning years of Superman, I personally think, why not start with villains like Livewire, Toyman, like those kind of villains?
Ultra Humanite.
Or you're really going like Trevor is going with Mephisto and you're going with Ultra Humanite. Seriously, like
Ultra Humanite's a really cool villain.
now, no, don't get me wrong, he's a cool villain. That's true. And I mean, my favorite portrayal of him will always be in the Justice League animated TV show. Like the
Yeah.
way how they portray him there, he was great. But the thing is that he fought so many different superheroes that a lot of people will consider him more as a Justice League villain than a Superman villain. But he could even work as a Superman villain as well. You
Isn't
know,
he originally a Superman villain?
I don't know. Like he fought so many different superheroes that I lost count. Seriously, but Ultra Humanite is also like a good example. But let me give you, like, seriously, let me give you some good villains. Like if we're talking about like the beginning years of Superman. Because if you don't know, I have here like a library of like DC supervillains. I mean, you have so many great villains, like even Atomic Skull. He can also be a good like villain for like as a like when it comes to Superman beginning years, you know. Or even I'll give you like few more just to get kind of give you an idea. You can also, or like for example, Silver Banshee, or like I said, Toyman, or again, like you said, Ultra Humanite, or even the big King Kong Titano. You can start with him as well. Or even I'm gonna put in as well. I mean, he's a very underrated villain, but I will put him as well. Parasite.
Yeah.
I would love to see Parasite as well. Uh, and I will add two more. One is Manchester Black. I would love to see him as well. And
Superman versus the League is pretty cool.
oh yeah, that's a great movie. And also, I mean, man, I'm so sad that he's dead, but it would be really great to see him voice him again. But anyway, Mr. Mitsuplik, the Rumpelstiltskin of the DC universe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr. How do you pronounce it? I always
uh,
have a trouble pronouncing his name.
uh, most of the letters are silent, but like it's basically something like Mr. Mitsuplik, something like that,
Mitsaplik.
something like that, because it's very difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I know we went a little bit too long, but like, what are your candidates for a Superman Legacy like main villain role? I mean, these are my candidates. What are
Yeah.
your?
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with Superman's rogues. Like I said, Ultra Humanite, and I'm not gonna like make Ultra Humanite like the Mephisto of li- like our friend does it, but um, that like I really do like him, or just any type of villain that's more terrestrial. I want to see kind of more Earth-based villains for this first Superman to see kind of more as like this terrestrial hero, and then him kind of working his way up.
Then, I mean, for me personally, then we have the right candidates. One of them, just for you, is Ultra Humanite, but also Silver Banshee, Livewire, Parasite, Metallo, even Atomic Skull. Like, those are actually very terrestrial supervillains. So, because I think, like, my opinion is that when you start with like this DC universe with like the beginning years of Superman, you need to have a villain that is going to be a challenge, but in the same time, you need to start easy
Yeah,
a little bit, you know. And also, my favorite one, I want him to see him in the somehow on the big screen, but I'm also going to put in Toyman as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Do you have anything to say before we start with the new project?
Like I said before, I'm really really excited for for Superman Legacy. Um, we definitely need like a definitive Superman project like the Christopher Reeves movie in 1978.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, I have said a lot about Superman Legacy, but like with everything what we said, I think like with this project, we're gonna get the Superman we were asking for a long time.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think this could be a Superman that even Christopher Reeve, God bless his soul, could be proud.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We go to a project that I was mind blown that is gonna be part of the DC universe, and that is the Authority. Oh my god. When I heard that they're gonna be introduced in the DC universe, I'm not kidding. I was jumping. I was jumping up and down with like with a smile that even the Joker could be jealous on my face. Like I was like screaming, smiling, jumping. I was like so happy because the Authority is such an underrated superhero team. They're so underrated and they're such great characters. And I would love to see them in live action. And now with James Gunn saying that it's a passionate project of his, finally it's gonna come true, and I cannot wait to see that. The first thing I will say that Superman Legacy will tie into the Authority, and I really cannot wait to see how. I really cannot wait to see how. Now we don't know much information, but now for you guys, who are not familiar with the Authority, they're basically the nasty version of Justice League. They're basically actually. Let me give you a perfect example. They're like the boys, basically, but not like that violent. I mean, they are violent, but not that violent, basically. You know, and what I love about their the comic book series that I read like many years ago, every single story was on a grand epic scale. Every story they had, the battles, oh my god, the battles were so great, like so majestic. Oh, I just cannot wait to see it, and not to mention like there's so many great characters. But before we start, like, what are your thoughts?
Um, like I saw, like I did a little bit of research. I'm not completely familiar with them like you are. I am familiar how like I've seen them like kind of picture like pics and people talking about them like around the from Wildstorm, their Jim Lee's company. And honestly, I'm pretty curious. I don't have like a lot of knowledge, but like I'm excited to see what they do with it.
I mean, like, for me personally, like, I'm really hoping that James Gunn's gonna start with the original members because they're so badass, and I really, like every single one of them, like, damn, I cannot remember her name, but like I'll basically call her the Union Jack lady. Like she's basically the founder of the Authority. Then you have, I think, Hawksmoth, I think his name is, who now this character is very peculiar because I don't know if you ever saw him, like his design, but basically he's a man like in a suit who used to be the president of the United States, just so you
Hmm.
know. And how can I describe his powers? Are basically, he has the power of every city in the world. It's kind of complicated, but basically, like his hands and his feet are like uh, have some like technological abilities, basically, and he's dressed up like in this like very like black suit in a way, like and he's also the leader of the Authority,
Hmm.
basically. Then of course you have the engineer, who's basically the brain of the team, who's this lady, who her entire body is like, instead of like blood, she has some kind of like technological fluid in her body that makes her like look like basically she's a robot,
Hmm.
basically. And she's again another very interesting character. You have Swift, who's basically, she's a lady with wings. You have the Doctor, who is like the smartest person in the world. You have Midnighter, who's basically the Batman of the team. You have Apollo, who is the Superman of the team, and also a character that Superman can take on, like can have a hard time taking on, because like he's on his level when it comes to strength. Not to mention that Midnighter and Apollo are in a relationship together.
That's what I heard.
Yes. And believe me, when I say relationship, I'm not saying anything like Disney princess romantic. I'm talking like hammer and tongs, like they're really going at it, just so you know. And with James Gunn on board, we can probably see that on the big screen. Just saying.
Yes.
But no, no, no. I mean, I'm serious now. Like their relationship is also something that really one of the interesting elements of the Authority. I mean, you may see them like this like tough guys, but they really like care for each other. They really do. Not just simply Apollo and Midnighter, but also like all of them together.
Yeah.
You know, and I really now James Gunn did say that Superman Legacy will lead into the Authority. How do you think it could lead?
Honestly, it's probably gonna be more than like an Easter egg or something like that. As much as I want like Superman Legacy to be like very standalone, like I could probably see it maybe like be like post credit or like some type of like um like something like throughout or even just like a certain scene in it.
Yeah, because my theory is that with the DC universe, the way how it starts, I think like the Authority will already exist in this universe. I think like it's gonna be a team that already exists, because I don't think James Gunn is gonna do like an origin thing. I think like this team will already exist when the movie starts, you know. And
Yeah.
also, I don't know if you know this, but also Superman was also once a member of the Authority. He was affiliated with them.
Hmm.
So I think like also this could even lead like to Superman try to or have like ideas to create his own team, because the thing is, in the comics, Justice League and the Authority always like were butt heading each other, because like the Authority are basically a team that will basically get the job done, like they will try to bring peace and justice no matter what they do. If it means like blowing up a building full of people, or destroying a country, or slaughtering a lot of civilians, like they will basically do anything to like deliver justice, you know, and which is one of the reasons why they were butt heading a lot of times with the Justice League. You know, again, I'm not saying that Superman will appear in the Authority, but I'm interested to see how it's going to lead into it.
Yeah,
Also, of all the characters, I don't know if you ever seen how they look like.
I have actually.
Which of all the characters, the original members, which of the characters seem by the looks interesting to you?
I like I like the design of Midnighter. Like his cowl, it's like
Hmm.
very like padded and stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention before, like Midnighter does have some Punisher personalities as well, but he's more like a more violent version of Batman,
Okay.
basically. And I will admit, his gadgets are also pretty cool as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so for you is Midnighter, which I'm happy to hear it because even for me, Midnighter is one of my favorite superheroes in the DC universe of all time. But I will also add Apollo and the Engineer into it, like because all the other two characters are also pretty interesting as well. And I'm really hoping that the Apollo was gonna have long gray hair because the short hair, which they was actually introduced in the newer comic books, it doesn't fit him. I want to see him with longer hair, just like in the original series. Anything more to say?
Not really. I'm just excited to talk about w- uh what project did you have in mind to talk about next?
Let's see. It's all about family.
Family. Specifically the Bat family.
Exactly. But before we go to that, I'm not gonna go into deeper to the authority, because as you said, you're not that familiar with them. But when you saw the characters, do you have already some casting ideas?
Um Not really, honestly.
You know, actually, who I can see as Midnighter?
Who?
Uh, fuck, I can't remember his name, but he base. Let me put it this way: he portrayed younger Spock.
Oh, Zachary Quinto.
I can see him as Midnighter. I'm just saying.
I can see that too. He needs a big superhero role.
Yeah, I'm still like curious, struggling, like who can fit Apollo. I'm still struggling. Who can play him? Some people even said Henry Cavill.
I could see Matt Bomber.
Oh, that's a good choice as well. I can even see him as well. Like now that you mention, that's a good choice. Really good
Yeah,
choice.
Quinto and Bomber has have actually worked together before, so that worked out pretty perfectly.
Yeah. Do you guys actually also have an idea who the director, like who can direct the Authority?
Well, obviously James Gunn, but he'd be pretty busy. So, I could probably see maybe Edgar Wright.
You know, actually, who I can add
Who?
because the style kind of fits him. I don't know, like if he will do it, but I can also see Tim Miller doing it.
I think Tim Miller would definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I know he's mostly famous for Deadpool, but uh, that's also a type of source material that Tim Miller, I think, could pull it off.
Yeah,
Mm. Okay, moving on. It's all about the family. More precisely,
the Bat family,
exactly, because now we're going to talk about something that
the
was
Brave
also
and the Bold.
surprised. Exactly. The Brave and the Bold. Now, personally, I think the movie is going to be called Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Yeah, I think it's going to be called. I don't think he's going to just simply call it the Brave and the Bold. I mean, what do you think?
I
Just the
mean,
title.
either way, you don't really want to confuse it with the Batman because I think a lot of people are going to be confused with like the Robert Pattinson version
Yes.
running around and the DCU, which honestly I think it's pretty gutsy. Like I just thought that they're going to have Batman just running around the DCU, but the fact that James Gunn literally wanted a version front and center, like I'm pretty excited to see two two Batman.
Oh my God, yes. James Gunn did say that Batman's gonna be part of his DC universe. Of course it has to. He's one of the main. He's one of the main Trinity.
Hmm.
Of course he needs to be in the DC universe, and the way how he's gonna introduce him, honestly, I was surprised because not only he's gonna introduce the Brave and the Bold version, and I'm talking about the comic book series. I'm not talking about the Batman, the Brave and the Bold TV show. I'm talking about like the comic book version. Not only that, but who's gonna be his choice as Robin? Damian Wayne, his son. And I was like, Damian Wayne? I was like, really? And I was like, wait a minute. If he's gonna start with Damian Wayne, does that mean we're gonna see the entire Bat family as well? Because he did say this is gonna be like a start of the Bat family. Now, this could go either way. Like it could be the start of the actual Bat family, or he meant by Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, Batgirl, like they already exist.
Hmm.
You know, which is also something that a lot of us wanted to see.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like I thought like even from the very beginning, even before James Gunn was like announced as a CEO alongside Peter Safran, like if you're gonna start with team with Dick Grayson again, you know, like try something new, you know, and one of my ideas, one of my wishes was actually to start, where basically Nightwing, Red Robin, Red Hood, and the others already exist,
Hmm.
and it looks like this is it. Damian Wayne. And also, I'm just simply happy to see we're going to also see the father side, the family side of Batman as well.
Yeah.
You know, because Batman and Damian, like Bruce Wayne and Damian, they have a very interesting relationship as father and son, which also makes me wonder who will be the main villain, because this could be go either way. It could start with like Ra's al Ghul, it could be Deathstroke, it could be the Court of Owls, it could be like anybody. It could be even, I'm going to go as far as say, it could be even Heretic, which I think would be cool to see. Heretic. Oh my god. Although I'm not sure about the baby face. But anyway. Did you ever saw Heretic's true face?
I have not.
But okay, so in the anime movie, have you ever seen Bad Blood?
I've heard heavily about it.
Can I spoil it to you?
Go ahead. I'll
Okay.
I'll end up watching it at some point, but go ahead.
Okay, so spoiler alert for anyone who didn't read the comics or never watched Bad Blood. Heretic in the movie is basically a grown-up version of Damien. Like basically he's clone basically. But in the comics, his actual face, like you see him as a grown-up, but his face is of a little baby, which is very creepy.
That is very creepy.
Yes, and the way you see him, I was like really disturbed when I saw his baby face. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to do this, because Heretic was a villain that was genetically created, basically, you know. And I think, and if they're going to start with him as well, I'm all for it. Just saying, But what are you most excited about the Brave and the Bold? You.
Um, like you said, the Bat family. I'm also excited just to see like another just a Robin. We haven't seen Robin on the big screen in such a long time. I was
Yep.
hoping we'd get Dick Grayson Robin, but either way, it's pretty cool to see a Robin period, and also the fact um that James Gunn is adapting from the Grant Morrison comics, and I'm such a big fan of their work. So I'm pretty excited to see like how it ties in. And also, I wanted to add that with like all of like the picks and stuff like that, James Gunn has been very like vocal about like comic books that are like it's not just oh yeah it's just a reference or like loosely based. No, they're taking like tons of inspiration from the comics, and I give them like all the props for that. Like,
Oh
and
my,
they're even bringing in comic book like current comic book writers like Tom King.
exactly. I mean, I've seen the list of the writers they brought in, and I was like, this is heaven. This is fucking heaven. Like the one time I was like even like feeling like I was like, "Ah," like it's a fucking miracle or something, like, because it really shows you they're committed and they're trying to like not simply make it great, but also like literally trying to compete against Marvel, you know.
Hmm.
And the way how they're gonna start, I'm just saying they're on a right track. Just
Hmm.
saying.
Oh yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, when it comes to Brave and the Bold, when it comes to me, also one small thing, we could probably see an older Batman, because if he's already a father, that means that he could be older, like way more older than Superman.
Probably between mid 30s, late 30s, early 40s.
Well, late 40s maybe not, but I would go
I
mid.
mean early 40s I meant.
Yeah, that's more like it. I would say I'm like in the mid of like late 30s to early 40s, like you said. I'm like in the mid of that, which for me perfectly it works. It works
Yeah.
fine, because you have to, because since you're introducing his son, you know, you have to make him a little bit older,
Yeah.
you know. But the one thing I'm really interested in, not just with the Bat family, but the one thing I'm really interested in is to see the family dynamic between Damien and him. Because as I said before, in the movies and in comic books, they always had a very interesting relationship. You
Hmm.
know, because just like James Gunn said, Damien is a very nasty little assassin.
Yeah.
Like, like Batman had always had a hard time to try to adapt in his ways. So I'm interested to see that, and I'm really curious to see who's gonna be the villain. I'm really interested. But the one thing I will say this: no matter how he's gonna start, you have to, we're gonna definitely see James Gunn bring in the like traditional Rogues Gallery villains, like Joker, Harley Quinn, Riddler, Two Face, Penguin, Poison Ivy. We're definitely gonna see them. Definitely,
Yeah. Oh,
because
definitely.
yeah, just like with Superman, you must with Lex Luthor, you must have like Batman's arch enemies as well.
Yeah.
You have to, you know. And I think I'll be really curious to see like Joker in one point being the main villain, and basically like seeing Damien going after him. I think that'll be
Yeah.
really cool to see, you know. And also, if the Bat family are already like created, you can easily, through the Brave and the Bold, you can easily through that you can have like spin-off projects,
Hmm.
like a movie about Red Hood, a movie about Nightwing, a movie about Red Robin, about Batgirl, or even Batwoman as well. Just saying. But overall, I really am excited. I really am excited about this. Now, let's go to another project that I was actually interested to hear that that no, because at first I thought like this could be a TV show, but no, it's gonna be a movie. Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow. And when I heard, because first of all, when he said the title, I immediately thought of the recently released comic book, which, by the way, if you didn't read it, it's great. I recommend
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I definitely need to get to reading to that. I was literally looking into that, and I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen it kind of like, like I read comics like you do, and like I kind of see advertisements for it, and I didn't really give it a second look till literally it was announced as a movie.
I mean, do you even realize that All Star Superman, The Brave and the Bold, The Authority, Supergirl, Swamp Thing? Do you even realize that they've been sold out after like they were announced as movies?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like anything that's like tied to like superhero movies and not so much the other way around is like,
Yeah,
oh
not
yeah,
to, like not to mention like the writer, I forget his name, of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Like he was so happy that his comic book was like for sale, and like in a matter of like hours or even a day, it was sold out.
yeah. Tom King, who we were literally
Exactly.
talking about. Oh,
Yeah, we were talking
actually,
about it.
I literally I want to share this. I literally just got done reading this over the week.
Oh, that's a great one as well.
By the way, James Gunn, if you are watching this, please adapt New Gods. Please.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Because just like you, I want to see new gods. I want to see new gods done properly. Please do
Yes.
not make the same mistake as they did with the Eternals.
Mhm.
No offense to Deborah Chow, but I was not pleased. So I'm hoping James Gunn will do the right thing with the new gods. I'm really hoping. Just like you.
Yes.
So anyway, so Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and like I said, written by Tom King. And when he said that they're gonna turn that comic book into a sci-fi movie, I was like, oh my god,
The premise is pretty metal.
it, it is. I mean, do you know the premise of the story? Basically,
Yeah, it's basically like it has to do with the death of Krypton. And Supergirl, she's like literally like like pretty much one of, if not the last survivor other than Kal-El of
mm-hmm.
Krypton, and she survives till her 21st birthday on a
Chunk.
yes, a chunk of the planet.
But also in the comic book, I don't know if because for what James Gunn said, it looks like they're gonna do like page per page. But basically, in this comic book series, there was also a little girl involved, in which like I don't want to give too much away, but like basically there's a little girl involved that Supergirl is trying to protect, and whose like parents were killed, and basically like she's trying to get revenge on the people that killed her parents. And Supergirl, basically she's there not only to protect her but also like making her like not make the biggest mistake of her life, basically
Yeah,
taking a life, like in this comic book series she would rather be the one to end them, rather than this little girl, because you saw the drawings with a sword of Supergirl, because that sword is in the comics is also a weapon of the little girl.
yeah,
Yeah, that's all I will say, because the story is actually pretty good. What Tom King did was like really impressive. So I really cannot wait to see like this on the big screen. Now I'm not saying. Do you think it could be like 100% done, like page by page, or they're
I
gonna change
mean,
something?
honestly, I'd love it to be like that, but it's kind of it's def well, it's a very recent it's a very recent series from what I hear, 2021.
Yes,
Which honestly, like if they did the Scott Pilgrim approach and just tried to adapt pretty much everything, that'd be freaking amazing from all the visuals and stuff. It'd be pretty hard to, but honestly, either way, whatever direction they go, like I am really excited and really curious to see something just like that's like that you wouldn't see on the screen like that.
I agree. I totally agree. And also, I like the idea that this Supergirl will be like a jaded character. I like that idea. Because if you look at closely, that's basically who Supergirl always was. Especially when you see her first days when she came to Earth. Like she had a hard time to adjust, not simply when it comes to her powers, but like talking with people, different culture, not the same technology from Krypton and all of that. Like, so the idea of her being a jaded character, not as like pure and clean like Superman is, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now here's my thought. Now, like I said, we only know like just the title that is going to be an adaptation of the Tom King's comic book. But I want to ask you, uh, when the movie ends, I mean, like the movie, we didn't even hear like the script is done, no casting, no release date, and yet we're talking about the ending already. We're we're so far in the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I mean, this year's slate of DC movies isn't even out, and we're already talking about this.
exactly. But I want to ask you, and this like complete speculation. We don't know nothing. We didn't talk to James Gunn. We didn't hack to his computer. We don't didn't stole any of his files or whatever. Nothing. It's just speculation. But my theory is, what if Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, like through a credit scene or something, do you think she could already end up on Earth?
I'd say probably, maybe through the Phantom Zone or something like that.
Yeah, because because my theory is that this movie, like, she's gonna be like somewhere in the universe, all alone with that little girl. If they're gonna do the same story, of course, like 100% the same. But I think like they're gonna do like a credit scene or something where basically I also think she's gonna end up on Earth.
Yeah, and maybe even like Superman shows up and then she'll say something like Cal?
It could be. It could be. It really could be. So basically, in the next movie, you can. I mean, we're talking about even a sequel right now.
That's the thing with with upcoming like movie projects and something like that. We're always thinking of the next step, like
Exactly. I mean,
in
you
this
can
modern era.
exactly. I mean, like, if Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, if they end up with Supergirl going on Earth, or like maybe Superman finds her like through a beacon or something, uh, the next movie or like a Superman sequel, for example, you can have like Superman and Supergirl together. You can explore how she tries to adapt on Earth, and then later on it could lead to a sequel to Supergirl, like a Supergirl something something. Like
Yeah.
this could lead in so many different directions, so many.
Mhm.
But do you agree, that the credit scene could possibly be that she could end on Earth?
I'd say it's pretty possible.
Yeah. And my next
Pretty possible.
question: do you think now again, I'm totally okay if he's gonna keep her, but do you think Supergirl will be recasted, or he's gonna use the same one from the Flash?
I think she's gonna be recasted
I think so
because
too.
it's very from what I see from the Flash and from what they're doing right now, I think it's like I think they're like two completely different, like one's on a different universe and this DCU one and what they're trying to do. So
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, because even like when you read the comic Woman of Tomorrow, like, even there, from what we saw from the Flash, like Supergirl from the comics, from Tom King's comic book, and the Flash, completely different characters.
mhm,
They're completely different. So, like, I mean, again, sometimes they usually in some franchise they usually can keep like the same actor, even though the character is like going a different direction. But I also think she's gonna be recasted.
yeah,
I think she's also gonna be recasted. But I'm still interested to see the Supergirl in the Flash. I'm still interested to see like what that character will do and basically the overall portrayal. But overall, I cannot wait to see what Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is gonna be. I really cannot wait. If they're gonna do page per page from the comic book, Tom King's comic book, like, I'm totally on board because by itself, it's a very interesting story. So, do you have anything more to say?
not really. I'm just excited to see what else we talk about.
Oh yeah. So, when it comes to the movie, we have reached almost the end because the next and the last movie that was uh, revealed by James Gunn is, of course, one of Alan Moore's like best-selling stories, and also he's also a member of the Justice League Dark, and that is our good old Swamp Thing. And even though I just want to say this, I'm one of the people who protected the TV show because it was great and it had so much potential. So I'm just hoping they're gonna do the same. They're gonna do the right thing with Swamp Thing as a movie. And honestly, James Gunn even said that this is gonna be like a horror superhero movie, which is perfect. When you're doing a story about Swamp Thing, it has to be a horror, you know. And I'm really curious to see if they're gonna adapt the Alan Moore storyline because that is a really great story that you can do that you can use so many plot points and elements from it. Hmm. Oh my god! And even though James Gunn did say that Swamp Thing is going to be its own thing, but it will lead into the big DC universe. So how much are you familiar with Swamp Thing?
The the very bare essentials, um, essentially. But I mean, I'm definitely curious either way.
I mean, if I had to describe Swamp Thing, like he's basically nature incarnate, basically, because he can be anywhere in the world. By the way, like he can make so many copies of himself. He can be anywhere in the world that is surrounded with nature and all that. Like he is basically Mother Nature's competitor,
Wow.
basically. Yeah, I mean, like he's extremely powerful when it comes to the nature itself, and I'm just hoping that they're gonna do the right thing. What they unfortunately couldn't do with the TV show. And also I'm curious, do you think Swamp Thing will be done in CGI?
It'd be cool to see a combination of CG and practical.
Because in the TV show, if you ever saw it, they basically he was wearing practical things, like he was wearing makeup on himself.
Yeah,
So I'm really curious to see how they're going to do it. I mean, like you said, they could easily combine CGI and practical effects and makeup easily. But also, I'm really hoping this Swamp Thing could lead to Justice League Dark. I'm really
yeah,
hoping for that.
that'd be pretty cool. I know that that project's been in development hell for a while.
Yeah, but also from what I heard, it's also canceled.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, it's such a shame. It really is such a shame, But James Gunn already knows. He already knows that when you have Swamp Thing, you're gonna have to have Justice League Dark as well.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to. So I believe, my theory is that what James Gunn is gonna do, I think what he's gonna do is that every single character, well, maybe not all of them, but majority of the Justice League Dark members will have their own movies, which will basically then later on shape into Justice League Dark. That's basically my guess.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of all the characters, I think like the only ones who I can definitely see having their own movies or TV shows are Swamp Thing, Constantine, Zatanna. I would even add maybe even Deadman can have his own like TV show, more of a TV show than a movie, actually. You know. Now, Madame Xanadu or Black Orchid, I don't know about them, but there will also I think there will also be interesting characters to explore as well. I mean, when it comes to Swamp Thing, like this is gonna be like the shortest of all of them, because you know, like there's so many storylines about Swamp Thing that James Gunn can use. Also, a lot of people are theorizing that the guy from Logan is gonna direct Swamp Thing.
James Mangold.
Yes, and honestly, I believe he could be the guy for Swamp
Yes,
Thing.
yes.
I can definitely because the horror aspect, the seriousness, the darker tone,
The violence.
exactly because that all is part of Swamp Thing. I think James Mangold can do it. I think he can do it. And from what I've heard, there's some teasers that he put on that maybe he's in talks. I don't know. But there's one thing I forgot to mention about The Brave and the Bold, Just one small thing. Do you? I remember when I told you that Ben Affleck was actually in talks with James Gunn and Peter Safran to direct.
Yes.
What if he directs The Brave and the Bold?
Honestly,
Because
it'd
I
be
could
a
see
neat
him.
idea, but honestly, that'd be too on the nose in my opinion.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if there's a good story, because remember, you have to remember, Ben Affleck not only is a great actor, but he's also a great director and writer.
Yeah. Oscar
And
nominated.
exactly,
Oscar winning.
exactly, and he's also a fan of DC and Batman.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think like the Brave and the Bold storyline, I think like it could be like I think it could be perfect for like Ben Affleck's level to direct.
Yeah.
Just saying, I mean, and I don't think it would be too much on the nose. I don't think it would. I, for me personally, I can.
Yeah.
Now, do you have anything more to say before we start to the other category?
There's two projects in particular that I'm pretty curious slash excited about.
Okay, then let's move on to the TV shows that have been announced. And we're going to start a little bit small. We're going to start a little bit lighter. Well, if you can call it lighter. But we're going to start with our first animated project in the DC universe, which, by the way, James Gunn confirmed is already in production. He already confirmed, by the way. The Creature Commandos. That's a project that was blown up as well. Like, I was mind blown when they announced it. Because this is a project just like The Authority that came out of nowhere. And the Creature Commandos, I wouldn't go far as say like Creature Commandos was also one of my wish list, like to be introduced in the DC universe, because they're such an underrated superhero team, so underrated, and to see which members James Gunn chose besides Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein, of course, it's amazing. We have Rick Flag Senior, Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, fucking Weasel. Fucking Weasel. And of course, we have a Shin Gun returning as Weasel as well. We have G.I. Robot. And we have Dr. Phosphorus and what was her name? The fish lady. I always forget. Um, Nina Mazursky. That's her name. Which is basically the fish lady. And I do remember like in the comics she always wears that suit, basically, because after all, she is like a humanoid fish lady. But overall, this is such a great, great gathering of characters. And also, I would like Rick Flag Sr. because I don't know if you know this, but Rick Flag Sr. was like very briefly mentioned and appeared in the early days of DC comic books.
Yes.
Like he was the leader of the Suicide Squad before supervillains were introduced. And seeing like Rick Flag Sr. here, I was like, wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And also, why not bring back Joel Kinnaman as voicing Rick Flag Sr.? I'm just saying.
No, they actually have a casting for Rick Flag Sr.
No, they don't. They only have Shin Gun for Weasel, Viola Davis for Waller. Those are the only two confirmed castings, as far as I've heard.
I thought Frank Grillo was playing Rick Flag Sr.
Oh no, 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 no. That's just a theory that people had.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I just want to say, even that could work. Frank Grillo is Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah.
Because because I told you that he's actually the one teasing that he could be part of DC universe.
Yes.
I mean, man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like seeing Marvel actors going to the DC universe.
Yeah, I mean James Gunn even said that
He's gonna bring his own team, his own Guardians in the DC
yes.
universe.
Yes.
Oh my god, this is so great. But anyway, are you familiar with the Creature Commandos?
I am excuse me, I am not.
Now, basically, for the people who don't know, the Creature Commandos, basically in the comic books, they were like I think they were introduced. I think some in the 80s. I think they had their first introduction. I'm not quite sure about that, but basically they were active during World War II, as this basically they were basically like a Halloween version of the Suicide Squad, basically, where you have all this like cult like famous monsters. You had the Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein. I remember there was like a mummy in it. You had werewolf. I think there was also uh, the Gorgon. I think she was also in it, and of course, Nina Mazursky, the fish lady. You had her as well, and they were basically like a special task force. Like I said, the Halloween Suicide Squad, basically. And just like I think for the Authority, I think Creature Commandos will also be rated R. I mean, what do you think?
I can see that definitely.
Only also like as James Gunn said it, like they're gonna jump from like animation to live action, and I really cannot wait to see like those characters going back and forth to animation and live action. I just simply cannot wait to see that.
Mhm.
Oh my god! I mean, like even they're not gonna go fully with the actual like monsters. Like just all the members they had. Like for me, it's like a really great list of characters. And I'm really curious to see because they mentioned since I said the casting, Amanda Waller will also be part of it of the show, and I'm really curious to see like how she's gonna be involved because I think like in the Creature Commandos, I think like she didn't have any involvement whatsoever when it comes to comic books. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to introduce her in the show. Also, not forget to mention James Gunn is the one who wrote all the episodes.
Yes,
So we're gonna have some really crazy James Gunn shenanigans in it as well.
absolutely.
I think this show is gonna be like a horror, like a rated R, maybe even like some horror elements version of Peacemaker.
Hmm.
I mean, what do you think?
I mean, all I say is, well, all I ask is, do you really wanna taste this? I'm sorry,
Good,
I just had to do that.
good point. Okay, okay. I will accept it. I will accept it. Okay.
I love that theme intro, by the way, for Peacemaker. I just
I know. I know. Oh my god. Can you imagine if James Gunn did like a dance intro sequence animation for Creature Commandos?
he could like get the rights for Monster Mash.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my. I just can't wait. I just really can't. I'm just cannot wait for Creature Commandos. I'm really curious to see what direction they're gonna go with them. Also, I'm really curious to see one thing because in one of the comic books I remember, the Bride of Frankenstein, she actually had an affair with Swamp Thing.
Hmm.
So I'm really curious to see if he's gonna attach that as well, because through that Frankenstein and Swamp Thing, well,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I'm telling you, like from the comics, Frankenstein in this universe, like he's a fucking badass, a real horror killing machine,
Wow.
and he also has a kick-ass sword, like medieval sword. Like I mean, when you see him, he kind of looks like a biker, basically, with a kick-ass medieval like knight sword. Just saying.
Metal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really metal, and I really cannot wait, like to see what James Gunn has like installed for us when it comes to Creature Commandos. I really cannot wait for that. Now, with all being said, do you want to add something?
No, I'm good.
Okie dokie. So basically, just like the upcoming project we're going to talk about, uh, Creature Commandos also was going to be released in 2025 alongside Superman Legacy.
Yeah. It's supposed to release kind of pre-start. Well, it is literally a part of Gods and Monsters, but it's kind of like a prelude essentially along with Waller.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the next project I was going to talk about. Waller. Now, I don't have too much to say about this, but it would be really interesting to see what James Gunn is going to do with this, because also, by the way, I just want to say Viola Davis, she survives the Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm so happy for her because like she really embodied Amanda Waller.
Oh, she always has, and I'm really excited to see what else she can do with the character.
Oh yeah, I mean, even like when it comes to Amanda Waller, she's like Viola Davis. Is like she's like in the perfect age for Amanda Waller,
Yes.
basically. And I really cannot wait what kind of a storyline they're gonna introduce with them with in the TV show Waller, which also no, let's not forget to mention James Gunn did say that we're gonna see the Team Peacemaker appear in the TV show as well. Now, did she actually meant by that like did he actually meant by that like just like Harcourt, her daughter, and the beard guy? I forgot his
Economos, John Economos.
exact John Economos. I'm really curious to see if he meant just the three of them, or did he actually meant also Vigilante and Peacemaker?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, also too, I'm curious to see like obviously like the old elements at the EU are supposed to go into this new DCU. I'm just curious to see what all they do with that, like how they kind of incorporate it essentially.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Also, not to forget, no, also just by the way, for anyone who doesn't know this, James Gunn didn't give up on Peacemaker season 2. Don't worry about it. He's gonna
Hmm.
still do it, but for now, it's gonna be put on hold because he's gonna concentrate on Waller
Yeah.
now. You know, which again, every one of these Peacemaker season 2 is not shut down. It's still on. Just put on
Yes.
hold, basically.
Hmm.
And of course, knowing James Gunn, of course, he's not gonna give up on Peacemaker. Of course, he's not gonna give up. Which also gives me another question: like, how many retcons is gonna do in season 2 of Peacemaker?
I honestly don't even know because they literally interacted with the old version of the DC of the Justice League, the DCU. So my question is, with some of these characters that aren't going to be recast, are they going to have like a knowledge, or is it just going to be like non, like is it just going to be like it's not even acknowledged at all, or if they they just so happen to like it's kind of confusing to see how this universe is going to be kind of rebooted. If I'd be completely honest, I would have rather just had a complete reset, but I think like James Gunn wants to you know, take the elements that weren't like great or weren't exactly weren't exactly working for him or working for the rest of the universe, kind of start from scratch on most of it and then take what works about um the old DCU and just kind of take it over, put it, transfer it essentially.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. There's so many questions I have, like not just simply connecting with Waller, but like who's coming back, who's not. Like, is this because from what I've seen so far, this is gonna be basically like a soft reboot. Basically, it's not gonna be like a total overall reboot. From what I've heard and seen, especially with Viola Davis returning as Amanda Waller. You know, but I don't think, like, with everything said and done, I don't think James Gunn is gonna give up on John Cena as Peacemaker. I don't think he's gonna give up on him. So I think like he's gonna drag him down into the new DC universe as well.
Yeah,
I,
and I think Cena will pretty much do whatever like
yeah,
James says.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
not
like,
whatever, but like
yeah. I mean, I get your point. But also the one thing I also wanna mention is that maybe not vigilante, but I do think Peacemaker could appear in Waller as well. Because remember, uh, after everything is said and done, Amanda Waller still kind of owns him in a way.
yeah,
Even though everything was revealed, what she does, she still owns him. So
still has that inhibitor chip.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think like James Gunn could do something to kind of bring Peacemaker into the storyline as well, because I'm really curious to see what the story is gonna be. Because my theory for now is that it could involve like the outcome of Peacemaker season one,
Mhm.
because he showed directly, like, a cover of an old comic book where Waller was like in handcuffs, you know, and I do recall that storyline a little bit. I do recall it, so I think I have an idea where they can go with this in a way. But I can definitely see this show being like something like between Criminal Minds, The Rookie, and what was the other project that Nathan Fillion was involved, where he was a crime writer. Uh, what's the name of that show?
Castle.
Yes, it was him and Stana Katic.
Oh, by the way, I just want to ask you. I know that James Gunn, he has his usual people that he works, and his main three are are his brother Sean Gunn, um, Michael Rooker, who is Yondu, and uh, Mural. What was his character's name in The Walking Dead?
Oh, wait a minute. You mean the character that Michael Rooker played?
Yes.
Uh, oh fuck. Let me check it out. I don't remember.
Well, the point is he was in The Walking Dead, but essentially he's a fan favorite, and I actually, not to brag, I've met him once at a convention,
Oh yeah.
but
I don't know if you ever mentioned that you met Michael Rooker.
yeah, I sent you a photo. Remember?
Oh yeah, you did. You lucky bastard. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but but him and then Nathan Fillion, which is like the main trio that he works with. So I'm really curious to see if he's going for specifically for Rooker and Fillion, if he's gonna keep. Well, obviously, spoiler alert, he can't keep Rooker's character Savant because spoiler alert, he's dead. Um,
Look. Flashpoint. Maybe he's miraculously back.
Yeah, honestly, and I don't know with like Nathan Fillion as TDK. I really want him in a bigger role, though. Honestly,
uh, I want to talk a little bit more later about Nathan Fillion, because a lot of people have been fan casting him for something, which I'm going to talk about later.
yes,
But I will say this: Michael Rooker, yes, he did play Savant just for a little bit, but I think James Gunn is going to still try to use him somehow as well.
yes,
And there's so many great characters that Michael Rooker can play.
hmm
So many great characters in this universe, heroes and villains, even neutral characters. But anyway, let's just stick with Waller a little bit more. Basically, you and I can agree it's gonna be like a crime thriller TV show.
yes,
And my theory, like I said, is gonna be something between the Rookie, um the Nathan Fillion Stan Akatic TV show, and Criminal Minds. I think it's gonna
hmm
be some of a mixture of those three shows.
yes,
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm still interested to see. I'm still
hmm
interested to see where James Gunn is going to do, James Gunn is going to do with this TV show. Definitely, you know. But overall, I will admit it's one of my least interesting ones.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, moving forward to one of the most interesting TV shows, which we all begged for years, and now
hmm
finally it's going to come up. It's one simple word: lanterns.
my brightest day, my darkest night.
Say it, brother. Say it, brother.
No evil shall escape my sight. For those who worship evil's might, beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Yes.
I can't believe I have all of that memorized. I am such a geek. I also
Oh,
have the entire opening monologue from the original Star Trek series memorized. So,
I'll be honest with I'll be honest with you. Like of all the lanterns, I'll be honest with you. Like, of all the lanterns that exist, like of all the groups, the only one I memorized is the Red Lanterns.
What's the oath for that? I forget.
Oh my god. Wait, just give me a few seconds. Okay. Here he goes. It's basically like this.
Oh, hold
With
out your
blood.
ring. Hold out your ring. Come
What
on,
do you mean?
you gotta hold out the ring.
Oh, I thought you said, hold out your ring like I'm going on a ring. Like, what is this, wrestling now?
Let me tell you
Okay.
something.
Oh my god. From DC to wrestling. Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Well, I have too many rings now, but okay. Let's just pretend I have one, okay?
Yes.
Okay, let's pretend to be that I have one. Okay, here we go. With blood and rage, crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead, together, without our hellish hate, we'll burn you all. This is your fate.
Okay, for starters, the way that you said that monologue, that was that was so metal right there. That was awesome.
Oh, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like you just said it with like such feeling.
I know because like I told you, like there's so many oaths. That's the only one I memorized because
Yes.
it's so cool. I mean, I used to know all the lanterns oaths, but this is the one I mostly remember now.
Yes.
I just love the Red Lanterns, and I wish to see them someday in the DC universe. Please, James Gunn, please. I want to see Atrocitus. I want to see and his gang in the DC universe. Anyway, lanterns. Now, the only thing we know is gonna be more terrestrial, based on True Detective, which
Mhm.
you said it's like a dark, gritty TV show.
Yes.
Mm. Which,
Buddy Cop, which ties
yeah,
in with Hal Jordan and John Stewart.
yeah, centering around James Stewart and Hal Jordan. I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. First and
Uh,
foremost, I was begging to see James Stewart on the big screen for such a long time because he's my favorite Green Lantern, more than Hal Jordan, more than Alan Scott, Jessica Cruz, and the rest. Like he is my Green Lantern that I grew up with, especially with the Justice League animated series, and I was hoping to see him on the big screen. Well, we're gonna see him on the TV screen now, but like I was so happy to see him. We're gonna finally see him, and not only that, like Hal Jordan, as you said, Hal Jordan and James Stewart teaming up. This is so amazing, like a body cop film. Sorry, TV show. But the one thing I'm hoping, I've seen the cover that James Gunn used,
mhm.
but I want to see the original Green Lantern suits. I want to see them. And also, come on, I know it's gonna be terrestrial, but he has to show the Green Lantern powers.
Yes.
Oh, come
My,
on.
my only my only thing is don't make it like the 2011 Green Lantern movie and just have all their costumes be CGI. Just don't. Please don't.
Oh God, the memories, the nightmares,
Yes.
the swearing of Ryan Reynolds. Please don't make this green or animated. Yeah. Oh, of course, not to mentioning the shot in the forehead.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, like I don't think that he's gonna go that direction, especially James Gunn being in charge. But I'm really interested to see because he did say that he's gonna be terrestrial, but also is gonna involve around the mystery that is gonna be centering around the main storyline of like I don't know if he meant like the entire 10 years or just chapter one. I'm not sure if he mentions just chapter one or the entire DC universe, like this 8 to 10 years. But when he said that, I was like, okay, let's go. Uh, who would you cast as Hal Jordan and James Stewart?
Um okay. Hal Jordan, I know people want Glenn Powell as him, which honestly I'd be okay kind of either him or another character that we'll be talking about in a just a little bit. Um, John Stewart, I'd say either John David Washington or he's more of a comedian, but I really like him, and he kind of he has early John Stewart vibes, where John Stewart was more of a an activist and an artist. Gerard Carmichael.
Hmm, those are actually pretty good choices.
Thank you.
Pretty good choices. I'm still, for me personally, I'm still struggling to find like who can be cast as Hal Jordan and James Stewart, because I'm trying to picture an actor, especially for James Stewart, because he is a soldier.
Yes.
He's used to be a soldier, so it needs to be someone who can represent that like soldier personality
Mhm.
of him. Because that's one of because that was also represented in the DC animated TV show Justice League and Justice League Unlimited when it comes to his character. Even though James Stewart can be comedic, but like he's more serious than comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also, I'm really curious to see what age do you think Hal Jordan and James Stewart will be in this DC universe?
Well, honestly, if I were to cast them, I'm still not sure about my Hal Jordan casting. However, it'd be cool to see one to be kind of the more experienced kind like detective, like maybe like someone like in like somewhere in their like late 30s, early 40s, and then have someone like in their like early 30s, late 20s around there.
That's exactly my idea as well. Like, I think it would be great to see like Hal Jordan like way older than James Stewart.
Hmm.
Like James Stewart is the rookie, and Hal Jordan is like with more experience.
Yes.
Also, James Gunn did mention that we're also going to see some few other Green Lanterns as well in this TV show. Now, some people are saying like, "Oh my God, Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, like we could see all of them," you know, which is a possibility. Now, Alan Scott, I kind of doubt it, but Jessica Cruz, Guy Gardner, damn, I always forget the muscle guy that is always with Hal Jordan. I always forget him.
Kilowog.
Yes, I would love to see him as well. I would love to see Kilowog as well, but of all the other lanterns that are going to be peppered in the Lanterns TV show, which ones do you think will have the biggest chance to appear alongside those two?
Probably Guy Gardner and Kilowog. Possibly.
Yeah, I would say those two,
Dang, that was
and
theirs.
I would say this. I'll probably say like those Guy Gardner and Kilowog as well. But I think like I will also add maybe not Jessica Cruz, but I will also add I always forget his name. The alien Green Lantern. It looks like a little bit like a fish, orange.
Yes. I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, I can also see him appear as
Hmm.
well. Some people even were theorizing Sinestro as well.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you're gonna go with an older Hal Jordan, that means that Sinestro is already like evil.
Yes.
Yeah, which also Sinestro is also one of the bad guys that I really want to see on the big screen, like him and the Yellow Lanterns, or more precisely,
Ooh,
the Sinestro Corp.
you know who'd be a good Hal Jordan?
Who?
Pedro Pascal.
Honestly, I could see him.
Hmm.
I could see him, even like the mannerism, especially when you see in some movies or TV or project that where he's like a little bit more comedic. I can see Pedro Pascal. I could
Yes.
see him. I could see him definitely. Even though I'm not gonna go into deeper, but even though I can definitely see some people having trouble, you know, you know what I
Yes.
mean. Come on,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go deeper to that. Just is it's too much. It's too much. That if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Anyway, but I do agree. Pedro Pascal is also a great choice for an
Hmm.
older Hal Jordan, and I think like it's a proper thing, But again, they could be both like the same age. We don't know. But either way, like I cannot wait to see like what he's installed for us for lanterns. Like because this is another project I'm really excited to see. I
Yes,
really am. I
same
mean,
here.
yeah, and also I'm curious because I mean, as well as almost everyone in the console, villains are my thing,
Hmm.
and I'm really curious to see who could be the main villain in Lanterns. And even though I can definitely see being, I know it's gonna involve a mystery, but I don't want, I really don't want the villain to be like teased and teased and teased and teased, and then like at the very end he's revealed.
Yeah, like MCU projects these days.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I want him to be, I want the villain to be around them the entire time,
Yes.
basically. But if you have to choose, who do you think if it's gonna be the story is gonna be terrestrial? Who do you think could be the villain?
Um, I am. I'm honestly not sure. And it'd be pretty like it kind of be pretty difficult. Like I said, I don't have like the knowledge of like the rogues gallery of like some of these characters like Superman or whatever. Like I only know like the and for Green Lantern I only know the bear villains, but like either way, I'm curious to see who they have.
I mean, I do have some candidates. I think like they could work as like the kind of like terrestrial villains,
Hmm.
like Hector Hammond, Evil Star, also Sonar, Sportsmaster, hell, even Solomon Grundy, or like villains like what's his name? Uh, fuck, Professor Ojo, even him. You know who Professor Ojo is?
I'm not sure exactly.
Professor Ojo, he's basically a mad scientist who basically looks like a cyclop.
Hmm.
Like he has a helmet with an eye on it. Because he literally can't see. He has no
Yeah.
eyes. You have like so basically you like don't like I would even add like villains like Puppeteer and Goldface because those are kind of like more terrestrial villains that they can use. You know, just a suggestion. If you're
Yeah.
listening, James Gunn, if you're listening, I give you some suggestions about the lanterns. If you want to go with the ground villains, you know. But overall, this is one of the shows I really am excited.
Same here.
Hmm. Now let's go to a project that I think you and I can agree it's kind of interesting to see, and that is Paradise Lost. This for me, first and foremost, if you don't know, it's a prequel to Wonder Woman, which basically means is that Wonder Woman will not be part of it. It will basically be the show is going to be about the Amazons, Themyscira, and that's it. Which James Gunn did say it's going to be like Game of Thrones ish TV show, which already got my attention. But I think it's going to be a very interesting project, like because it's not going to be just simply about the history of Themyscira or the Amazons. Like it's going to be like about them, their politics, their ways of life. Like it's a very interesting project. I will definitely I'm really definitely interested to see because there's a comic book, Wonder Woman comic book called Paradise Lost, and Wonder Woman was part of it. But like since what James Gunn said, this like she's not gonna be in it because this time Mascara before she was even born. And also, there's one topic about Paradise Lost that I'm really curious to see if they're gonna show, which is also historically, it's also actually accurate. Uh, Basically, the way how Amazons were using men. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not 100% sure, but
Okay, how can I put this that can be close to your heart? The Amazons they used to use men for reproductive cycle.
that makes sense.
Yeah, they were basically because even in the comics it was shown that the Amazons would like basically capture sailors, whoever is like close to Themyscira, and they will basically use them for Well, if I have to be more precise, fucking, and they will basically later on they will kill them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because also it's a historical thing,
Yeah.
historical fact. You know what Amazons used to do. So I'm really curious to see if they're gonna use that element as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, I can definitely see in this show the main character being Queen Hippolyta.
Yeah.
Hmm. But also overall, with everything what James Gunn and Peter Safran described, what are your thoughts about Paradise Lost?
Um, Honestly, I don't really like have an opinion one way or the other, but I'm pretty open to pretty much anything that they put our way, and the fact that they kind of want to expand the lore of the Amazons and kind of tie it into what we're gonna have with Wonder Woman. And honestly, we're not 100% sure. You know, I know they said that Gal Gadot is gonna be coming back, but we're still not 100% sure. You know, if she's gonna retain as Wonder Woman or like anything can change honestly. So um
True.
but either way, like what I will definitely watch it, and I definitely have a curiosity to see how the lore is expanded with the Amazons.
Yeah, I mean, like because like that's why I'm saying that this project is very interesting because it's gonna explore something that it wasn't actually very explored in the comics. It wasn't actually explored like very deeply in the comic books, and so overall, like the description that Peter Safran and James Gunn like had for Paradise Lost, or more precisely what they gave us about Paradise Lost, like it's like it basically caught my attention. Like to being interested to see like how they're gonna do this, like because like what they mentioned is basically it's gonna be about the Amazons on Themyscira and their lives,
Mhm.
how they survive without men, basically, you know. And I can already see some men having problems with this.
Oh yeah, like I can definitely see the the message boards
Yeah,
of like whatever comes out like, oh yeah, it's go with an SJW propaganda. I'm just like, just shut up and watch it, or don't watch it. I don't care.
yeah. I mean, like, how can you call this bullshit woke? Like, we're talking about a tribe of women that even in actual history existed, like Amazons, female warriors, tribes, legions that like were only women. Like, did they actually had woke back in those days? Let me guess. No, they didn't. And also, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. Like, I'm not gonna say too much because, but what I'm, but literally because my rule on this is like basically, oh dear, how sad. Never mind. Because like whatever James Gunn and Peter Safran threw at me, like I'm gonna give it a shot, no
Yeah,
matter what. And also when he already said Game of Thrones ish, it already caught my attention
yeah,
for Paradise Lost. But in general, I'm just curious to see basically the origins and the exploration of Themyscira. I'm general curious, you know, and so yeah, like bring it on. I really am. Especially, I'm curious. The part actually I'm more curious is actually the politic side.
hmm
Like like the one part of their lives, basically, or more precisely one part of their. Well, no, I'm not gonna say empire. What I'm trying to say is one part of their. Uh,
society.
exactly, one part of their society. Hmm. So overall, do you have any final thoughts?
Um, like I said, really curious to see what they do with it, how the story is, how they cast it, and overall just how they tie it in with not not only Wonder Woman and what they decide to do with her in this DCU, but as well as just how they tie it in with this DCU in general.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, I think like this Paradise Lost, I think like it's gonna end up like either teasing us or it's gonna end up like at the very beginning of creation of Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
or more precisely the creation of Diana,
Yes.
how she was basically born, you know.
Yes.
But either way, Paradise, like all the other projects that we talked about before, James Gunn bringing on. I'm gonna give it a shot to Paradise Lost, like everything else. And honestly, the one thing I'm interested, we mentioned a few seconds ago, the one thing I'm really interesting to see and hear is basically the men's side. What they're gonna talk about, I'm just bring it on. I want to see the bullshit thing they're gonna talk about. Like I'm really want to see those fucking stupid excuses, you
Yeah.
know. But the one thing is, me, you, and James Gunn will be ready.
Hmm.
We'll be ready to counterattack them. I mean, that's one of the things I love about James Gunn. Like, no matter what you say, he will always be there to debunk it or counterattack it every
And
time.
and the thing is too, he's really like honest with
Yeah,
like he's not like Vigy. Like he will literally tell you straight up like if something is or something isn't happening.
exactly. I mean, I'm sorry. I thought that you were gonna say something more. Yeah, I totally. I mean, everything you said is absolutely true. Like James Gunn is very vocal about everything, and I love that. I mean, I respect him for it. I really do. Some people think, that he's a little bit too much vocal, but honestly, I'm like, no, he is absolutely just right. Like
Just the
he's
right amount.
exactly, because the thing is, he learned from his mistakes, and he already, like James Gunn already learned from his mistakes, what happened to him years ago and all of that, so he already knows like how much vocal he can be, or how much far he can go. And the way I love the way how he burns, like people going against him. I love just how he burns them. I
Yeah.
love. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but there was some tweets where where he was basically burning Grace Randolph.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I enjoy these tweets so much. This guy is a master burner. Oh my god, because I mean, as well as I do, like a lot of like almost everyone is against her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all know why, but anyway. Uh, Overall, my final thoughts about Paradise Lost. I'm just simply curious about the overall culture. That's the thing I'm most curious about Paradise Lost. And also I'm curious if he's gonna add the men thing, because no, because being James Gunn, there's a possibility he can add this as well.
Yeah. He's not afraid to go far.
Oh no, he's not afraid to go all bondage. Just saying. Okay, now we all being said, let's go to the final project, which is one of the projects I'm really excited about. Fucking Booster Gold.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. A cult like superhero that everyone was bragging about, like bring him to the screen, bring him to the screen, bring him to the screen. And James Gunn, he listens. He's like,
Hmm.
well, there you go. Not on as a movie, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Right now, you're gonna see him in a TV show. And oh my god, I cannot wait. Everything what he said about him. Future, travel back in time, false superhero syndrome, like everything what he said about him, it is so Booster Gold.
Hmm.
It is everything that this character represents, and I cannot wait to see what he has installed for Booster Gold, because Booster Gold, like one of the reasons why I loved watching and reading about Booster Gold is basically that persona that made him iconic, like the comedic side, like basically making himself look like a macho guy. Like he's a superhero, advertising this, advertising that, cereals, shoes, like parking lots, whatever. Like the power of advertisement. Just give to Booster Gold, and he will make one hell of it. Like, not to mention the incredible relationship with Blue Beetle. And when I say Blue Beetle, I mean Ted Kord.
Yes.
But I'm still open if the I always forget his name, the new Blue Beetle.
Jaime Reyes.
Thank you. Uh, if he basically like in this DC universe, if he's a friend with this Blue Beetle, I'll be totally fine as well.
Mhm.
You know, but honestly, I want to see the original Blue Beetle and his relationship with Booster Gold because he's such a comedic gold.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Like I just cannot wait. Like of all the TV shows, like this is like one of my favorite ones. I cannot wait to see. Like this show is gonna be pure superhero comedy,
Hmm.
and with James Gunn on board, this is gonna be crazy fun.
It's definitely his type of humor too.
Exactly, exactly, and I cannot wait. And I'm one thing I'm hoping. I want to see Booster Gold in his original iconic suit.
Hmm.
I don't want like modified things. Like I want to see the actual classic suit. And with James Gunn, I think we're gonna get that.
Yes.
But enough with me. What do you think?
Um, all I gotta say is like I've been familiar with Booster Gold for such a long time, ever since I got into comics, and like honestly, a character that just like you can't miss him, and he's always seemed fun. He always seems like he has that particular type of personality that you can't just deny on the on well, in this case, I was going to say the silver screen, but it's going to be a TV show, so the smaller screen.
Yeah, but we will definitely see him on the big screen as well.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. And also, I cannot wait to see his little egg-like gadget.
Yes. What's the gadget's name again? I forget. Goldie.
Uh, well, wait. Let me check. Uh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Uh, let me check. Skits.
Skeets.
Yes, Skits. That's the name of the little golden egg.
Okay.
Oh my. Oh my. I'll be honestly like. I'll be totally on board if like the guy who played Vision voices the egg.
Oh, Paul Bettany.
Yeah, I feel like he could be great Skits because usually Skits is like like psychic butler like friend and also conscience type of character.
Oh, I got a casting. Ben Wishaw.
Oh my
Paddington.
oh my god. Ooh, that'll be also that's a great casting choice as well.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Now, the reason why I mentioned Nathan Fillion before because a lot of people wanted to cast him as Booster Gold, but I think like they're gonna go with a younger
Yeah.
actor because Nathan
Like
Fillion. Go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like I said, for kind of what people wanted for Green Lantern, I think Glenn Powell would make a great Booster Gold.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me just check his picture. When Let me check his picture. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes. Especially when you see him from Top Gun Maverick.
Hmm.
Yeah, because when I saw his face, I immediately knew who he was. But
Yes.
especially when now I having his picture like from Top Gun, like his haircut, the face, and everything, I was like, yep, he could be a great Booster Gold.
Yep.
Yep. The only thing he needs to do is maybe put a little bit more muscle, and
Yeah.
that's it. And also maybe let his hair a little bit, longer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, but I can definitely Glenn Powell. I can definitely see him as Booster Gold.
Hmm.
Definitely. Oh my god! Like this is gonna be amazing. Like Booster Gold is a superhero that a lot of fans wanted to see. They were
Yes.
begging James Gunn to like bring Booster Gold, bring Booster Gold, bring Booster Gold. Like he was also one of my superheroes on my wish list as well. Even though I was more about like him and Ted Cord together, but just saying like seeing like this actually happening not only like made me happy, but I can by I've seen a lot of DC fans being happy, and also even in tears when he announced Booster Gold is coming. Oh my god, I just cannot wait. I mean, with everything said, done, like we've been through like all the projects that have been
Yes.
announced, and not even forget to mention this is just part one of Gods and Monsters. Like, there's a lot more to come as well.
Fingers crossed for a Justice League movie, which we'll probably get it at some point. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think now? Here's my theory. Here's my question for you. Actually, do you think in Gods and Monsters, like part two of the chapter one, do you think maybe two projects could be about Wonder Woman and Batman? And no, sorry, actually, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Do you think one of those projects not announced could be Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Arrow, or any of the classical like Justice League members?
honestly, I'm hoping, like I'm really hoping. I know James Gunn said that he's not that like he will definitely do something with Wonder Woman pretty soon, and I also hope we get Green Arrow, and whoever else. I'm still not exactly sure what they're doing with the Flash and Aquaman, considering that they both have their movies this year. Um, but like honestly, I could see something definitely slightly different, but like kind of on the same lines happening pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean everything you said, I do also agree because because one of the logical things is like you must have a Wonder Woman project like alongside Superman and Batman. You must have Wonder Woman somewhere in it. You have to. Now, when it comes to the Flash, that's a big mystery. Like if they're gonna keep him or not. Like when I'm speaking about Ezra Miller,
Yeah.
if they're gonna keep him or not. Honestly, personally, I think like it's time to move on from Ezra
Yes.
Miller. I think he should be recasted. Aquaman, even though I love Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I think like he should also be recasted.
Yeah, I feel like we need a new type of Aquaman for for this new DCU.
You know what? Keep Jason Momoa as Lobo and cast someone
Yes.
else as Aquaman.
Yes.
That's at least what I think. Cast him as Lobo and bring someone else as Aquaman. Because even though I know Peter Safran did teased that Aquaman 3 is coming, but honestly, I think like I don't know if you're not gonna keep Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and I think also Gal Gadot. I think like you should get rid of like Jason Momoa as well.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to keep those actors, like give them some different roles. Like a one-off thing or multiple like times to play them, whatever. But the actual main roles, like in this case, the Flash and Aquaman, like give them to someone else, like
Yeah.
someone new. And I think like like because I know there's been some stories like they like should they keep Ezra Miller as the Flash or not. I'm talking right now like outside all the scandals that he did. I'm talking about like outside the box. Uh, Personally, I think when it comes to the overall DC cinematic universe, you need to start from scratch. And I
Yes.
think the Flash should be recasted. Like let the Flash, Ezra Miller, the Flash, like basically bring the DCU to an end. Even though we have still Blue Beetle and Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, coming after that, but like you get my point.
Yeah,
Basically,
exactly.
give those roles to different actors.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, because I think like their time to shine has come to an end. You know, like let their memories let them leave their memories on a high note, and that's it.
Mhm.
You know, but I don't know. Like when it comes to Aquaman and the Flash, I don't know if they're gonna be announced like alongside the other projects, but I think definitely you must have a Wonder Woman project in the first chapter as well.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to. You have to. Like she's one of the main three, And if you announce like Superman and Batman, you need to announce Wonder Woman as well.
Mhm.
You need to.
Definitely get
And
as much core members of the Justice League as you can in this
exactly,
slate.
exactly. Since they already introduced us like also two Green Lanterns, like they were and both of them were like part of the Justice League. Then he could easily also introduce us like characters like Green Arrow as well.
Yes.
You know, but overall, I think like we talked about all the projects. Now, one of my last questions I will ask you is like, of all the projects that we talked about, which are the ones that you are the most excited?
Um, I'd say um I'd say definitely Superman Legacy, The Brave and the Bold, Superwoman, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, um, Lanterns, and Booster Gold.
If I have to pick out of all of them, I mean, honestly, I'm excited for all of them, every single one. But if I have to pick, I would go with. Uh, it's so heartbreaking because I am excited for all of them. But if I have to pick, I'm gonna go with the Authority, the Brave and the Bold, Booster Gold, Creature Commandos, and of course Lanterns. Those five are the ones that I'm really really excited to see. And for everything how it goes, I mean, look, Superman Legacy is gonna come out in 2025. Now, does that mean that the Authority may come out the same year? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think like yeah, because but definitely like 2025 is gonna be the start of the new DC universe, and I just cannot wait to hear more and more information because for what I've heard on Comic Con, and also I think like Warner Bros is gonna have like a meeting or something, and also a lot of people said that there could be a chance that we could also hear more informations. But overall, the casting, that's the thing I want to hear. And for
Yes.
what I've heard, Comic Con, I think like they're gonna announce not all of them, but like some of the casting.
Hmm.
And if you want to have to, and I'm hoping for the casting of Superman that it's someone fresh,
Yes. I definitely agree with
like
that.
someone exactly someone not well known. Yeah. Oh my god. And also like for the second part of like Gods and Monsters, I don't know if I asked that before, but you mentioned like Justice League, and which other projects you're hoping to see revealed?
Um, New Gods.
Okay. New Gods in general, or do you have like one of them, like
Well,
specifically?
probably probably the New Gods and or Mr. Miracle.
Hmm, fair enough. For
Yes.
me personally, I would say this, since it's called Gods and Monsters, uh, I'm going with New Gods as well because I would love to see New Gods on the big screen, not as a TV show. I want to see it as a movie, and then later on you can do spin-offs. I want to see New Gods. I want to see Green Arrow because I think it's about time we see him on the big screen.
Yes.
And also, okay, this is just like total blank, but it's a long shot. But I would love to see also the Justice Society of America.
Yes. You got to have the JSA somewhere.
Yeah, and with the original members, not
Hmm.
a mixture like Alex Ross and the rest did like later on with Stargirl. I want to see the original members. Hmm.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
overall, did we miss something?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all my followers of darkness, looks like we came to an end to another great Shadow Council episode. So, like always, you know the drill. Comment, subscribe, drop a like, all of that bullshit. Either way, I'm really hoping you guys enjoyed our little live stream, and see you guys next time. Like always, Lord of Shadows, signing off.
Peyton from the Pop Urge signing off. Go read some comics, kids.
It's about time you read some books. And what better way to start with comic books? See you guys next time. And remember, James Gunn is watching.
Always.